I started doing business in 2012, doing crypto trading. Back then, Bitcoin wasn't a thing. People still look at you like a weird guy if you say you're a Bitcoin trader. Your asset, your number one asset, is your network. And when that gets hacked, you worked very hard to get that network. And that network represents you. Don't lose your own identity just because of your network. So when I started, for example, in cryptocurrency, I don't mind being called crazy or weird. The more users in the system there are, the more valuable the network is. And that's true with money. Money is just a sideshow. It's just a side effect of having served other people.
In terms of business, in this current crisis, sino tingin mo ay yung winners and losers?
People who are prepared are always the winners in any crisis.
Jay, what's your advice for business owners during times of crisis like what we're experiencing right now?
All right. So today we are joined by one of our guests, Mr. Jay Villarante. Just to give you a background of what Jay does. So Jay, the business of Jay is actually in Moneybees, and Moneybees is a vastly regulated crypto exchange company. And one of his latest ventures is in Secuna. Secuna is a cybersecurity company which have the clients such as GCash, Union Bank, and we're just very excited to hear from him today because I think in our generation now, with a lot of threats, not just coming from the current war, but also a lot of security threats that we're having recently, I think this is a great opportunity for him to really just share how his business started, but also, maybe probably give us also tips on how we can also protect ourselves from these kinds of cybersecurity.
This is a very special episode because Jay is also our friend. And first of all, Jay, thank you for having us in your beautiful home. We'll go right straight to the questions. No? But before that, can you tell us more about yourself? Ano yung naging business journey mo? And what are your current businesses right now?
First of all, thank you, Enzo and Nikki, for having me here. It's a pleasure sharing my thoughts on what's going on. I started doing business in 2012. I used to be a programmer. I used to be a software engineer for Friendster. And then I started my business in 2012 doing crypto trading. Back then, Bitcoin wasn't a thing. People still look at you like a weird guy if you say you're a Bitcoin trader. So it turned out to be a really good business eventually. I started with just 100K pesos in my bank account as my capital. And turned out really well. It started like a hobby. It's not really a serious business when we started. And then around 2017, everything became more serious when the central bank came in and regulate the industry. So we had our business regulated, licensed by the central bank. We're actually one of those who was asked by the central bank, how do we regulate the industry? So we're one of those who were consulted about the regulations, and we also applied for the license afterwards. And then until now, we're still operating as a licensed exchange, crypto exchange, and we have 140 crypto outlets now. So the way we operate is we have physical outlets all over the Philippines. We have outlets in Okada, Trinoma, Glorieta, Wanayala, Venice Grand Canal, Market, Uptown, Mitsukoshi, and very soon we're gonna open in Soler and COD also. So watch out for those outlets coming soon. around 2017 also, we started our cybersecurity business, um, because it's needed by my crypto company business. So when we started with our crypto company, we noticed a lot of threats going on in the industry, and we thought that having a group of ethical hackers within our team is a good idea, because they will look for vulnerabilities in our system, and eventually we packaged the service, productized it, and offered it to other companies as well. And eventually it did very well also. Uh, the company is profitable, but we started doing well, to be honest, just during the pandemic, because a lot of threats were coming out during the pandemic, and more businesses are taking these threats more seriously. Even the government got hacked during the pandemic because of all the um, applications that were being made related to the pandemic. Example are the contact tracing apps. If you notice, you get a random SMS. Those probably they got your number probably from these hacked applications. So it's very important, especially for governments, to be tested if they are secured, because a lot of these government apps, they just allocate a budget for it to be built, but nobody really checks if the application that was built is built in a quality way, in a secured way. So it's very important for that also to be checked, especially because the government is holding millions of data of our countrymen, and that also poses a threat to our sovereignty as a country, because a lot of these threat actors are not Filipinos. Could imagine, um, adversaries of the country are getting our data, our kids' data, um, our neighbors' data, and they can use that data in a malicious way to spoof you, or um, use your name in a malicious way, use your name for scamming other people, and then you will get suddenly uh,
Alone.
yeah,
Yeah.
someone
Pretending to be you.
collecting loans from you.
Yeah.
Uh, so those are real threats. Those are real scenarios that are happening already right now. When LTO got hacked, millions of driver's licenses are in the dark web. And driver's licenses are used by, for example, Gcash to open an account. So they can use your name for opening accounts in Gcash, and then use that Gcash account to scam people. So it's a very real threat, and hopefully people will really take this seriously. Um, it also matters for, say, recently there's news item about FBI director Kash Patel
Yeah.
got hacked by Iranian hackers. Um, so who are those really interested to hack certain government officials, and that is a very real threat to our sovereignty.
Jay, recently there's been a lot of news also of a lot of Chinese hackers and Chinese spies actually. They're recruiting a lot of Filipinos to spy on us and even hack certain industries. I've heard that they've been going to the DND, they've been going to certain vulnerable people, offering the money to, spy on us.
Yeah,
There's so much vulnerability now.
yeah. Um, th- yeah. I mean, we know who might be interested to do an economic attack on the country. It can be, yeah, economic warfare, or can be done in multiple ways. It can also be a corporate espionage by your competitors in the business. So one has to be very careful as a businessman because a- your asset, your number one asset, is your network. And when that gets hacked, when they know your network, know the numbers of your clients, one can easily compete with you, get your I don't know, get your clients. So it is very important to safeguard your database, your data, uh, especially as a startup. I remember when I was a startup, it's really important for you to closely guard your client list, your network. You worked very hard to get that network. And that network represents you as a person. Kasi when you get your network, you get it maybe going to a party or going via relatives. Um, you get them because they trust you. It's about trust, and you spend time with them, and you you were introduced by a trusted friend or relative, and there's an investment that was made, the time, the money spent to get these clients, and then some people will just steal that client list. It's gonna be a waste, and that's when I think one I think good advice I can tell fellow business leaders is your network is your number one asset as a business. Um, but at the same time, don't don't lose your own identity just because of your network, just because you want your network to be friends or accommodate everyone. You still need to keep your identity as is. Um, uh, so it's a balancing act. You have to um, so when I started, for example, in cryptocurrency, I don't mind being called crazy or weird by a lot of people, but because those people who didn't find me crazy or weird ended up my loyal clients eventually. So because of the loyalty that I was able to gain, then I have a really uh, good network of loyal clients that is my moat as a business. It's very difficult to take them from me, even if other businesses have better rates or better platform than me.
Jay,
It's very
you
difficult to get.
correct. You introduce us to cryptocurrencies, no? So I want to ask, what made you go into cryptocurrency?
In
Bakit
the first place, yeah.
bakit mo siya sinimulan? What ano yung nakita mo sa kanya, the potential? Like Bitcoin, you introduced us to Bitcoin. So what made you go into cryptocurrency and eventually turn it into a business right now?
Yeah, so my my own I ano kasi perspective in life is that the government um has to stay away from the economy, and one way that when the government can control the economy is through money. So that's one leverage the government has over the economy is they can print as much money as they can to pay all the services. And when they do that, they inflate the money, and that causes inflation, and that's why prices go up. Um, so back in my college years, I'm already having this kind of leaning towards libertarian ideology. So I'm more of anarchist libertarian, and that was my um, philosophy, or could call it politics back in the days. I'm always against excessive government spending, always against excessive taxation. Um, And cryptocurrency is in the intersection of computer science and economics or finance. So I'm very interested on both fields as a student. Um, and because I graduated computer science in my college years, and I'm also very interested in finance. In my in the university, my thesis was about peer to peer programming. So if you remember LimeWire or
Yeah.
Frostwire.
Frostwire, LimeWire,
ano pa nga ba
That's
mga
where,
P2P?
doon ako nagda-download ng mga ano eh.
yeah.
Pirate Bay,
Oh, Pirate
Pirate
Bay,
Bay,
yan.
no? Oh.
Kazaa,
Torrents, yeah.
Torrent.
Yeah,
Kasi for sa music yun. So,
music, yeah.
Yeah, we really worked on creating a P2P version of Wikipedia. So that's what we did back in the college days. This was in 2006.
You know, Jay, you mentioned you also were one of the first teams on Friendster.
Yeah,
as
in
well.
the Philippines. I was
Yeah.
one of the first employees here in the Philippines when they started in the Philippines when Friendster, because Friendster started in Mountain View in California. Even though they set up an office here in the Philippines, they tried to create a similar culture here in the Philippines. So I'm really interested in that. And with Friendster, kasi Friendster is a social network, and I see cryptocurrency also as a social network. Kasi when we talk about social network, the value of a social network like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter is the number of users it has. So the more users in the system there are, the more valuable the network is, and that's called the network effect. So the more endpoints there are, the more users there are, the more valuable the network is. And that's true with money. The more users there are of the Philippine peso, the more valuable it is. The more users are with the US dollars, the more valuable it is. And the more users of Facebook, the more valuable it is. So that in a way that also translates to cryptocurrency. Um, and the way we see, for example, Bitcoin during the early years when just a few when there's just a few Bitcoin users, we can really see how the value of Bitcoin went up as more users came into the system to use it. So the more people know about Bitcoin, the more people who use it, the more valuable Bitcoin became. And that's how Bitcoin's valuation went up exponentially over the years. Um,
I have a question, Jay. Now, before, so what triggered you? No, what was the transition when you decided, okay, I want to build and I want to make my own startup from being an employee and then deciding to being a business owner, doing my own startup. What was the aha moment, the click na, itong Bitcoin and can turn this into my own business?
It wasn't really at the start. It's really scary, to be honest. Um, it's like an itch that you have to scratch. Like you really need you you really feel that you need to do it. It's like any other decision in life that you do. Um, Starting a business is a commitment. Uh, but more than being a commitment, it's about enjoying what you're doing and having the passion to do it. Because you have to remember, you have to do it every day, Monday to Sunday, almost 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you have to be really committed to doing it, and you really have to enjoy doing. As I said, Bitcoin, it was just a hobby to me. It's like trading NBA cards or collectibles. It's just like that when we
Something you
started.
enjoy.
Something enjoyable to do. And e- bit every rise and fall of Bitcoin was something fascinating to me when we started, because it's always hitting the highs and then it falls, and it happened to us many times in the past, and nowadays people still call Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme just because it dropped a few percentage. Uh, Remember, when we started, it was just $20, maybe $10. Now it's almost 70K USD. So is there still a chance for it to drop to zero? I don't know, but everything's still fascinating to me. Even after 14 years of doing this, um, it's like if I were a scientist, this is an experiment that is so fascinating, and then something is turning out right, but you don't know still if you are correct, because these are still theories. It's we cannot really tell in the long run if if we're in the right direction.
That's really awesome. How you basically turned your hobby or something you enjoyed turned into a business. And I guess I just want to highlight this. For many of you guys don't know, Jay was actually part of a show before, which is like the Philippine version of
The final pitch,
Final
right?
Pitch. Yeah, Shark
Guest,
Tank. Oh,
you were a guest
so
judge.
guest judge ka, and I remember, di ba, you were also evaluating a lot of business people are building. Uh, I want to just explore about. So we've talked about how you started your business. I mean, how you started as an employee and then started into venturing into business. Now we want to ask though, how did you scale your business to 140 outlets and also one of only 8 companies that has a VASP license?
Oh,
Can
was
you tell us more about that?
Intent is I think the right word. Intention, having the good intentions. Um, because I think it's still about service to the people. Eventually, what we're doing in this planet, in the world we're living in, is about service to the people. It, Money is just a sideshow. It's just a side effect of having served other people. It's like a reward. If you're playing games, it's your coin collecting. If you're playing Mario, it's the coins number of lives you collect because you're playing um, really well. And for me, and the game is about serving the most number of people as you can.
and Jay, the businesses you have right now, yung nature of business niya is new technology, especially for our country, no? So, I understand marami naging challenges and bottlenecks along the way, especially for cryptocurrencies and cybersecurity. Uh, what, how did you overcome, or how did you overcome those challenges? And until right now, I know you're still encountering bottlenecks, no? So, what's your mindset? How do you deal with that? How do you face the challenges?
So there's always it's like warfare, right? You know, for every war there's multiple battlefronts. And I see all these fronts, battlefronts as something that uh, ch- challenges that can be overcome. And you have to have the positive outlook to it, and that's it's a right argument to say, oh, you can have the right intention in the world, but then if you don't execute it properly, you will still fail. So you need to have the strategy, the battlefield strategy. Um, so you have to look at these fronts, identify the problems, identify the solutions based on the problems. And every problem has unique kind of solutions. Um, Hindi ano kasi some people, just because you have a hammer, every problem is a nail. And because of the network that you have cultivated, you have more tools in your toolkit. Kasi the network that you create, as I've said, network is your number one asset. That's because different people have different skill sets, and you need all the skill sets that you could possibly get, from legal, finance to operations to um, every problem is a different as a businessman. So you can look at things as a warfare, and then you need to have different sets of weapons for each battle. Sometimes you need a grenade, sometimes you need a machine gun, sometimes you need um an atom atom bomb. Uh, you don't know what kind of battle or you're facing. Yeah.
And Jay, talking about solutions and weapons, one of the solutions you did was actually start a whole cybersecurity company
Yeah.
entirely to fix one of your core problems in your company.
Yes. So that was one battlefield, right? That
Yeah.
became an entire warfare.
An entire business in itself, no?
So it's in itself, because the problem is cybersecurity, and I think it's a problem that the government that the country has, and I think we need this kind of solution in the country. And then again, the intention is to serve the most number of people as possible. And the way we do it is because if we don't help companies secure their applications, a lot of your data will be out there. A lot of your kids' data will be out there, accessible to the predators and uh, child uh,
I heard yung
Epstein's or something
I heard
of the
right
world.
now yung pinipenetrate nila, the way they get to into like the young people is through Roblox.
Yes, exactly.
Parang
One of those things, no?
kinakausap nila yung mga the kids that are playing there. Tapos yung pala predator na sila.
Yes. So exactly. So we need to safeguard this area, and we saw this as an entry point for a new business. And true enough, because we saw a problem and there's a market for it, then we're able to create a product that is useful for people. And hopefully, because we serve the government as well in our cybersecurity company, hopefully we really help millions of people in the process.
Yeah.
Mm.
And siguro, Jay, no, one thing I've noticed, even when you mentioned serving, itong mga companies mo, basically they're serving each other. Kasi you have one side serving the people and the other one serving you as well. It's like a network, parang ecosystem na rin yung ginawa mo nun, no? So may business mo. You basically scaled it, and then now, it helps one business actually helps the other. No? How important is this that you have the same business in, I guess, more or less in an ecosystem or serves each other?
We have like a common kind of partners. For example, for Moneybees, we have partners who are in fintech, in payments, in different industries. So those clients also became our clients in our cybersecurity company. So in a way, there's there's an intersection of these clients because they are using cryptocurrency, they are into fintech, um, they are into payments, then or remittance. Then uh, they're also very vulnerable to cybersecurity threats, and so for us, it is a um, parang it's an advantage. It's one advantage that we can use for the company so that we can uh, we can develop the company a lot faster. But still, it's not a guarantee for success. We still need to continue improving our service. We have to continuously improve your service so that you're always competitive in the market. So, um, so you do not just rest on your laurels just because you got this number of clients. You still need to improve and improve your service. Get the most number of um, ISO certifications or any other certifications.
Tsaka, Jay, the thing about, no, regulations and compliance, it puts everybody into the same playing field. You know, um, what sets apart, kasi when imagine mo, no, everything is regulated, everything is compliant, ngayon, pare-pareho na kayo. So, what sets you apart from a lot of your competitors? Kasi you have a lot of competitors, really big names. You're talking about Paya, Gcash, and all of these companies, no? Um, and they have big marketing budgets. One of the reason that we wanted to also talk to you, what keeps you there in the game with all of these big companies? No? When everything is regulated, pare-pareho kayo ng compliance, you know, you're still very much there in the game.
I think um, the, the difference is I'm still running the company. I'm the founder. I'm the very passionate in this business. Whereas maybe the other companies are being run by um, hundreds of people that I would say don't have the same level of commitment to the idea, to the ideology that we started in. I don't really want to talk much about the competitors, but they're all doing the same things. They're trying to get small pieces of the same pie, and that is a pie that we don't want to be in. We have a different we're in a different
You're on
playing
a
field.
different table in its own.
So and this is not being catered right now by anybody else except the unregulated ones. So we are the regulated um, um, entity that is running in this field, and that is very important because there are many unregulated ones doing physical trading also.
With the current situation right now sa Middle East, no, and how it's affecting us, how is it affecting your business?
With cryptocurrency, we have been encountering a lot of highs and lows. So we've went through a lot of um, crisis in the past. Pandemic. Uh, um, in crypto, we have a lot. Mount Gox, FTX.
Luna,
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, and then the recent ones. I really don't see things in a negative way. I mean, there's always opportunities and everything, and you need to have this. We can't call them opportunists because they're ones serving when other people are not serving. Um, I would give an example. For example, a lot of people hoard rice. Are we gonna say when when a disaster happens, a lot of these sellers are the ones who were hoarding rice.
Yeah.
So
Opportunistic, no?
they were holding rice, but when the disaster came in, they were the ones selling. Otherwise, there will be no sellers. Um, so it's kind of opportunistic, but at the same time, if they didn't do it, nobody else will. Everyone will be hungry. I'm not ano, I'm I'm not defending greed or ano, but this is something very interesting when it comes to when you look at it from a different perspective. So a lot of oil has been um, at sea for many years now because a lot of them are, you know, are sanctioned oil from Iran, from Russia, and um, when this Iran war happened, Hormuz Strait got shut down. There are a lot of opportunists in the market. I would say Trump is a real big opportunist. He did it to Venezuela, and then after that, when he took Maduro, and then uh, took the oil from Venezuela, attacked Iran, and they knew, everyone knew that Hormuz Strait will be shut down. Even a college student with a basic understanding of geopolitics would have known that Iran's card is the Hormuz Strait. Um, and they're really going to use it to their advantage so that they get a good deal out of this. I think one lesson to learn is to know about history, know about geopolitics, so that you will not be caught off guard when these things happen. Uh, so, for example, I was already preparing for this kind of thing, for this exact thing to happen. I was already installing solar panels. I was already buying batteries and the electric vehicle for my family in case there will be shortage of oil and in case the 1980s happen again or the 1970s happen again. You know, the Hormuz Strait has been closed down many times across.
It's not the first time.
This is not the first time. So if you know about history, you would know it will happen again. Energy crisis, the brownouts during in the 1980s happened, and brownouts will happen again sometime in the future. We don't know when, but because a lot of our lives are now dependent on electricity, everyone's buying their electric vehicle, their electric whatever. We need more power plants. The power plants are not being built as fast as the number of gadgets that we have around the house.
Correct. In terms of business, in this current crisis, sino tingin mo yung winners and losers?
The people who have predicted this are the winners. Always, the people who has prepared for this are the winners. People who are prepared are always the winners in any crisis. So my advice is just to prepare and to know what kind of preparations we need. I don't, I'm not telling you to build your bunkers or
The preppers, no? Parang
to be a
preppers, eh.
prepper, to hoard tissue paper.
Yeah.
Or no, but it's
It's good to be
about
prepared.
Yeah.
knowing what could happen maybe in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years.
Who would make money off of this crisis? Solar companies, yung mga
Yeah,
renewable
maybe solar
energy.
companies. China is gonna make a lot of money out of this because they're the ones building, because they know that this energy crisis is gonna happen because um it was Hu Jintao said about the Malacca dilemma. They were actually afraid of Malacca Strait getting shut down, not the Hormuz Strait. Maybe also the Hormuz Strait, but particularly the Malacca Strait, the Malacca dilemma. So that's why China has been preparing They were subsidizing their EV industry, they were subsidizing their battery industry, were subsidizing their solar industry, wind industry, all the power plants. They're building exponential, non-stop building dams, everything. Solar facility in in the middle of the deserts, on top of their dam reservoirs, floating photovoltaics on reservoirs.
Ang daming technologies that were invented o lumabas during the pandemic kasi it required us to
Innovate.
innovate. And parang pinropel tayo 2 to 3 years forward during the
Oo.
pandemic. And what we're seeing right now, meron problema but there are a lot of opportunities in this problem.
Correct.
No?
Yes.
So
this
I
crisis,
feel maraming mga invention, technologies, and adjustments na
Correct.
lilitaw
Correct. For example, higher oil price can be bad for some people, but it can be an opportunity for a lot of people, because it can be great for the environment also, because gas is very polluting, oil is very polluting. It's bad for the Arctic, it's bad for the environment. I'm not saying EVs are 100% better. I'm just saying it will clear the air definitely if everyone uses EV. At least the noise pollution will be less. And we don't know if the same crisis happens again. They could negatively affect you, but at the same time positively affect you. And you always want to be on the positive side. I'm not saying be opportunistic. I'm just saying if you don't do it, how can you serve the people if you yourself is a victim, right? So you need to be ahead of the people, ahead of the others, so that you will be able to serve better the people. So if, for example, if everyone's having brownouts in your subdivision, how can you share electricity for your neighbors if, 'di ba? If nobody has solar panels. So I'm always thinking about that. I'm also thinking about, sharing to my neighbors if there are brownouts, there are blackouts. Um, so parang ganun. How can you be helpful to your community if everyone is poor, 'di ba? If everyone is helpless.
Yeah, I've heard sometime, a lot of this bad, no, yung mga taong doing things for the bad things are, working double time. Pero the good people, why are we allowing also the good people just to be victims? That's why I really like about Jay as well. Kasi you're, even in your business, you have the white hackers, you have, you're doing the business to really serve more people. In perspective, a lot of people, I guess, forgotten about that. Lahat na lang kasi ngayon, okay, gagawa tayo ng masama para kumita. But, there's another side of the coin that you could also earn by being good. Which is also, kanina nga na-realize ko when you're talking about brownouts, no? A lot of people would probably be opportunistic, but in a sense, pwede ikaw rin naman magbenta ng kandila. It's not all bad.
I want to ask Jay a last question. What's your advice for business owners during times of crisis like what we're experiencing right now? What do you think is the right mindset to have para mag-survive and to be ahead?
Survive. That's it. Period. Survive. Just survive. That you're already doing great when you're surviving. It is you owe it to your employees as a businessman to continue your operation, to keep on paying the bills, to keep on paying their salaries and benefits. But more than that, innovate. So, for example, if your company can move away from working in an office, do that maybe. There are AI tools now for us to manage our business more efficiently and still make sure our employees are working. think everything is becoming more efficient now because of AI. We have to make the best out of that available tools that we can. As a businessman, we owe that to our employees, to our partners, shareholders, um, and our clients, that we keep on serving them.
All
Jay,
right.
thank you so much for the knowledge, sharing your journey, and sharing the wisdom. We learned a lot from this conversation. By the way, Jay, do you want to share your company again?
Yes, you want to share?
So, guys, we have a crypto exchange. we have we have outlets in different locations. You can see it on our website, moneybeast.ph. Um, we also have a cybersecurity company. Our services are vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, and we also have a bug bounty platform. So hopefully you check them out and see if we can work together. Thank you.
What's the name again of the cybersecurity?
Secuna.io.
And the crypto exchange is Moneybeast.
Moneybeast.ph.
Kami ni Enzo, whenever we buy and sell cryptocurrencies, KJ lang.
Yes.
No? So every time, wala na akong ginagamit ng ibang crypto exchange kundi si Moneybeast lang. So, we've been using his exchange for many years now, since we started investing in cryptocurrency. So, thank you bro for ang ganda ng service.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
wala akong
much.
masabi. And it's really one of the best. you know.
Yes.
So, yun. Thank you again, bro.
Thank you, Jay,
Thank
and
you for
also for
having us.
having us in your beautiful home.
Thank you.
Very excited. So, guys, if you enjoyed that episode, please follow us on our socials. In Instagram, it's BuildersPodPH, and on our Facebook, and also on our TikTok. So we'll be posting a lot of our episodes there, and also finally on our YouTube. You're gonna find us on YouTube. So stay tuned. We're gonna have more episodes. And again, thank you to Moneybeast and Sikuna for this awesome episode. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to our podcast. This podcast is available on YouTube and Spotify.
And if you enjoy more of our contents, you can follow us on Instagram, the BuildersPodPH. And if you want to know more about me, you can follow me on my Instagram account. It's Enzo Marfal.
And my Instagram account is at nikki.somber. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, stay tuned for our next episode.